Hello everyone. In this video we are looking at angle pairs. So one of those are complementary angles. So let's take a look at what complementary is. When two angles add up to 90 degrees. So complementary angles do not have to be congruent, and they don't have to have the same measure, and they don't have to be next to each other. They don't have to be adjacent in order to be complementary. So let's take a look at example 1. The two angles below are complementary. The measure of angle GHI equals x. What is x? So we know complementary angles add up to 90. So x plus 34 equals 90. Subtract 34 to both sides. X is 56. In example 2, let's change this one expression here to read 7r plus 6, and the other one's 8r plus 9. So we know these two angles are complementary, so I can take these expressions, add them to each other, and set it equal to 90 degrees. So we can add like terms. Our r terms go together, and our constants go together, 6 plus 9. So we get 15r plus 15 equals 90. Now I can subtract 15 to both sides. I get 15r equals 75. Undo multiply 15 by dividing it to both sides, and r equals 5. So I'm trying to find the measure of each angle, not just solve for the variable. So I have to substitute r in for, I have to substitute 5 in for r in the expression. So the measure of angle LKJ is 7 times 5 plus 6, which is 41. Then I need to substitute 5 in for r for angle GHI. So 8 times 5 plus 9 is 49. And then in my check here, I know that 41 plus 49 equals 90. Which is complementary. Done. Okay, so moving on. Any day. Moving on. There we go. Supplementary. When two angles add up to 180 degrees. Now, just like complementary, they do not have to be congruent or touching each other. They don't have to be adjacent to each other. So in example 3, I know that angle MNO is 78 degrees. So that must mean that angle PQR plus 78 is 180 if they're both supplementary, which is given in the problem. Can subtract 78 to both sides, and the measure of angle PQR is 102 degrees. Example 4, what is the measure of two congruent supplementary angles? So remember that supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. And congruent angles are equal, so they have the same measure. So I can just say that x plus x equals 180. 2x equals 180 divided by 2, x equals 90. So to be supplementary and congruent, the angles have to be 90. Okay, so let's talk about adjacent angles. So adjacent angles are two angles that have the same vertex. They share a side, and they do not overlap. So here we see angle PSQ and angle QSR are adjacent angles. Linear pair. Two angles that are adjacent, which means that they are next to each other and share the same vertex and don't overlap, and whose non-common sides form a straight line. So we can see here in this drawing, we've got measure of angle PSQ and the measure of angle QSR. They're adjacent, they share the vertex at S, and their non-common sides form a straight angle, or 180 degrees. So if I add these two angles, they would be supplementary. So linear pairs do have to be next to each other, whereas supplementary angles don't necessarily have to. Example 5, what is the value of each angle? So angle ABD and angle DBC are a linear pair because ABC is a straight line. So I can just set these two expressions, add these two expressions and set it equal to 180. 7q minus 46 plus 3q plus 6 equals 180. Add my like terms and then solve for q, and I get 22. Now I need to substitute that value for 22 back in to the original expression so I can find the value of each angle. So the measure of angle ABD is going to be equal to 7 times 22 minus 46, which is 108 degrees, and the measure of angle DBC is going to be 3 times 22 plus 6, 66 plus 6, and I get 72. And we can check this by adding up our 108 and 72 and making sure that it is 180 degrees. And it is. Okay. Example 6, are angle CDA and angle DAB a linear pair? Are they supplementary? So here is angle CDA, and here is angle DAB. So you can see that the two angles are not a linear pair. Why? Well, they don't share the same vertex. Now, they are supplementary because supplementary angles don't have to be next to each other. They don't have to be adjacent. They don't have to share the same vertex. And 60 plus 120 degrees equals 180. So no for linear pair, yes to supplementary. Okay, so let's take a look at vertical angles. This is our last definition here in the notes. So two non-adjacent angles formed by intersecting lines. So that's our definition for vertical angles. And vertical angles are always going to be congruent. So here you see I have two lines that intersect. Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles, and they're going to be congruent to each other. Angle 2 and angle 4 are also vertical angles, and they're also going to be congruent to each other or have the same measure. Okay, so that's it for vertical angles. So let's do a quick example. 7. Find the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 2. Well, angle 1 is going to be 18 because it's vertical with angles with the 18 degrees. And I know that the measure of angle 2 plus 18 degrees is going to be 180. So that means the angle 2 must be 162. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense for angle pairs. You are now ready to try the practice set. I'll see you later.